It was dark, dusty, and dirty, but as he looked ahead, he saw a light at the end of the tunnel. A light that would change his life forever. A light that would bring him great education and great wealth. It was in the 1990s that Jose came to America, through a tunnel into San Diego. This was his second attempt at gaining entrance to America. The first time, he was caught and dumped back onto the streets of Tijuana, Mexico. After these trials, Jose found great classes he could take and put himself through college and graduate school. Jose became a professional translator and made a great living in America. One day, Jose went to a Cubs game with his girlfriend and was ashamed when he could not provide an ID to buy her a drink, even though he lives in a luxury high-rise condo downtown. Jose had built his whole life on a lie. This is a story told in a first-person narrative by Jose Angel called Illegal: Reflections of an Undocumented Immigrant. This showcases the ability of illegal immigrants to make a living and a nice life in America. However, for others, it is much harder. The construction and farming industry are the leaders in illegal and undocumented immigrant employment. An illegal or undocumented immigrant is a person who has crossed the border illegally, has fake or no legal documents providing proof that they are legal citizens, or do not have a visa or green card. Since the 1970s, the legal way of gaining citizenship has become so difficult that most have turned to entering America illegally, simply because it is easier. Gilbert Cardenas, a professor of economics at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, records in his research journal titled "The Economic, Social, and Demographic Characteristics of Undocumented Mexicans in the Labor Market" that in 1977, only 40,000 legal Mexicans Mexican immigrants were admitted to the U.S., while almost 1 million illegal immigrants were apprehended. These two numbers have only increased. Today, there is way more illegal immigration and less legal immigration. According to the Federation for American Immigration Reform, or FAIR, who seek to reform the way that immigrants are dealt with, estimates that with 12 million illegal immigrants in the U.S., 71%, or 8 million of them work. These 8 million occupy many different jobs, but the employment of illegal immigrants tend to be very high in labor-intensive jobs. An estimate of up to 25 to 30% of all workers in construction and farming industries are unauthorized immigrant workers, according to the Pew Research Center. The Pew Research Center also found that up to 10% of service, production, and transportation workers are unauthorized or illegal immigrant workers. That is 30% of all farming workers and 30% of all construction workers in the U.S. Another way illegal immigrants are employed is what is called a day laborer. A day laborer is defined by dictionary.com as work done where the worker is hired and paid one day at a time with no promises that more work will be available in the future. Day laborers tend to gather at Home Depot or other hardware stores where they can be hired by anyone for cash. These laborers can tend to be illegal immigrants. These immigrants filling these jobs tend to not pay taxes at all. The main reason, though, that illegal immigrants pose a problem is the burden that it puts on taxpayers. Illegal immigrants cost America money by living in America without paying taxes and still receiving benefits. These benefits include schooling and emergency care. The Texas Association for School Boards states that the Plyer versus Doe case in 1982 decided that a school may not exclude a student based solely on the student's undocumented immigration status. Few legal immigrants pay taxes. The process usually starts with illegal immigrant getting a fake social security card. After he or she obtains this, most employers don't care enough to check or can't spot the differences and file their wages and tax amounts due. However, the illegal immigrant's social security card isn't linked to anyone's name, so the government ends up with a surplus of tax money. A surplus of tax money they can't link to anyone. While this may seem like a good thing that there's a lot of unclaimed tax money, it shows just how many illegal immigrants are in America and that it would be best if they were linked to someone's name. There is still about 340 million unclaimed taxes recorded on file, compared to 270 million nearly a decade ago. This statistic is from an article by Alexa Fernandez Campbell in The Atlantic, where she discusses the unclaimed tax dollars found every year. These tax dollars are not extra, they are unclaimed, and the cost of the majority of illegal immigrants not paying taxes far outweighs this amount. According to the Congressional Research Service, a government-run study that seeks to inform legislative debate, the INA Section 274A provisions, sometimes referred to as the employee sanctions, make it unlawful for an employer to knowingly hire, recruit, or refer for a fee or employ or continue to employ an alien who is not authorized to be so employed. This act is commonly known as the Immigration Reform and Control Act, which seeks to prohibit companies from hiring illegal immigrants. The act was signed in 1986, and the law criminalizes the act of engaging in a pattern or practice of knowingly hiring an unauthorized alien. However, the loophole is that companies, when confronted about hiring an illegal immigrant, will claim they did not know he or she was an illegal immigrant. A lot of times, however, people do hire illegal immigrants without knowing, due to the very convincing fake documents. There are many ways of getting a job as an illegal immigrant, and overall these numbers, statistics, and percentages of illegal immigrants being employed in the US are concerning and astonishing. I personally believe there's no one solution for illegal immigration, nor an easy one. People will always find a way into America if they really want to. But incremental progress can be acquired by making legal channels easier and removing incentives by enhancing penalties on companies employing illegals, and eventually involving the law. We can make work and seasonal visas easier to obtain. We should toughen penalties for companies hiring illegal immigrants, and finally, we can do this by mandating more thorough verifications and fines for companies. There are many different views on how to fix the immigration system, and several problems that must be dealt with. The first would be to make work and seasonal visas easier to obtain, because we do not need 12 million illegal immigrants. However, removing them all would not work. The economy would not survive if we just removed all illegal immigrants, nor would it be possible to remove them all. Illegal immigrants are employed in almost all jobs, including teachers and businessmen, but they tend to be found in mostly labor-intensive jobs, like the construction and farming industries. Illegal immigrants tend to go for these manual labor jobs because they pay relatively well while not requiring a large skill set. According to USA.gov, they estimate that the laborers in America make a mean hourly wage of $18.22. This statistic is for all laborers, but even if it was slightly lowered for illegal immigrants, it is a healthy hourly pay. Day laborers are also often illegal immigrants. We estimate there to be about 120,000 workers either seeking to or performing day labor assignments. Most of them being born in Mexico with 59% and Central America with 28%. This is another job that illegal immigrants tend to choose. If immigrants could acquire a temporary work visa, they could continue to make a living and support themselves and possibly their families. Once expired, they could reapply or have in the meanwhile applied for citizenship. In the farming industry, a seasonal work visa would help for the farming companies because they could use the workers that they require without illegally hiring them. Currently, there are several types of work visas. The popular ones and the ones that apply to these immigrants is the H-2C visa. The Agriculture Guest Worker Act of 2017, or the AG Act, brought this visa into being. The act currently allows 500,000 workers to be employed for up to 18 months. This act mostly applies to the forestry industry. However, I believe if it was expanded to the farming and construction industries, it would be very beneficial. Another solution would be to create a visa program similar to this, but focus on manual labor jobs. If work and seasonal visas are improved, it will make a significant difference because some of the immigrants prefer to take the legal way. And if it is easy enough for all illegal immigrants, all illegal immigrants could. Overall, there are many problems surrounding illegal immigrants right now that can be fixed. We should toughen penalties for companies hiring illegal immigrants. We can accomplish this by implementing a significant penalty for companies found to be employing illegal immigrants. This would discourage companies from doing it, and the fine money could go towards covering the cost of the illegals being here. The companies have no problem employing illegal immigrants or claim not to. In an article by Travis Hill in the Texas Tribune, he documents a first-person account of an illegal immigrant in the construction industry, saying, "Though it is illegal, brothers Israel and Jose Martinez have no shortage of work, moving from one construction job onto the next, in the ongoing building boom of Central Texas. They've worked on homes in affluential communities along the Upper Colorado River. As expert masons, they have built luxury pools, interior chimneys, and backyard grilling stations. This is one example of a large amount of work completed solely by employing illegal immigrants." In their interview, Israel said, "We've never seen any Americans carrying cement, picking up stone, or working from sunup to sundown. Never. Penalties for hiring illegal immigrants currently range from criminal to civil fines or loss of business license. First offenders are usually fined up to $5,000 per employee. These numbers go up for repeat offenders where the 3 or more offenses can cost an employer up to $20,000 per illegal employee. A pattern of knowingly employing illegal immigrants can mean extra fines and up to 6 months in jail for an employer. While these fines are serious, for a large company employing many illegal immigrants, they should be more severe. Another reform that would help these companies from unknowingly hiring illegal immigrants is a process called E-Verify. According to the everify.gov website, this program was started by the Department of Homeland Security in 1997. This verification process was started in the hopes of stopping illegal immigrants from being hired. The E-Verify is an internet-based system that compares the information from your I-9 form, employment eligibility verification, and compares it to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and Social Security Administration. The records to confirm that you are authorized to work in the United States. I believe, along with the Trump administration, that E-Verify should be mandatory nationwide. It would help with both knowingly and unknowingly hiring illegal immigrants. There are many other views on how we can solve the illegal immigration problem. Two very common and extreme are granting amnesty, and on the other side, deporting all illegal immigrants. Immigration amnesty simply means the process of granting legal immigration status to persons who are in the United States illegally. Persons who enter the U.S. illegally or persons whose immigration status has expired may qualify for immigration amnesty. This is what amnesty is and what it would look like in America. There is no exact number for illegal immigrants, but the estimate is usually around 12 million. Amnesty would be a great thing for illegal immigrants here in America. However, this is an insane number, and the cost in tax dollars for granting amnesty would be huge. The estimated cost for granting each illegal person's lifetime in America with amnesty would cost around $650,000. This study by Heritage.org clearly shows that the net fiscal impact for an average long-term would average a long-term net fiscal cost of over $650,000 on taxpayers. Thus, the education level of illegal immigrants has a large impact on the fiscal cost of amnesty. Currently, amnesty is very, very rare and is mostly granted to specific groups of people and would not solve the problem. No. Specific groups of people and granted only to those who have committed no other illegal activity apart from being in the country illegally. I believe this is the way amnesty should stay, because granting all legal persons amnesty would not only cost America a large number of taxpayer dollars, but it would not solve the problem. I believe that if amnesty was granted, illegal immigrants would have even more incentive to come to America, and would have even more incentive to come to America illegally. This is why we should make reform on a small level instead of doing something this large of a scale. Another very popular solution to illegal immigration is to deport all illegal immigrants. The Trump administration has increased the deportation rate significantly. Following Trump's campaign promise to drive out more undocumented immigrants, arrests rose significantly during the president's first 100 days in office. After Trump's inauguration, 10,800 non-criminals were deported during his first 100-day period as president. These illegal immigrants were deported by ICE, or the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. While this reflects an increase in deportation, others still call to deport all illegal immigrants. However, I believe this is not possible or feasible. ICE has already received more funds from the Trump administration. However, the insane cost of deporting this number of illegal immigrants would be a burden on America. This also ignores the fact that the illegal immigrants are a vital source of labor for America's economy. For these reasons, I believe that slow deportation is necessary, but the focus has to be on reform to give reasons for companies not to hire illegal immigrants, therefore leaving illegal immigrants with no reason to come to America illegally. While Trump's policies are bold, I think that it isn't a bad idea to increase deportation as long as it does not get out of hand and we can focus on reform. In conclusion, I personally believe there is no one solution for legal immigration, nor an easy one. However, illegal immigration is a problem and must be dealt with some reform. In an article by the National Public Radio website, Wayne Goodwin showcases the struggle of the illegal immigrant in America. Showcases the struggle of the illegal immigrant for America. Years of illegal immigration have pushed wages down, and accident and wage fraud are common. Of the nearly 1 million workers laboring in construction here, approximately half are undocumented. Many of those workers have been in the U.S. for years, even decades. This critical mass of eager, mostly Hispanic workers means that it is possible for a family from New York or California to move to Texas and buy a brand new 5-bedroom, 3,000 square foot home for only $160,000. This clearly showcases the effects of illegal immigrant employment. Overall, I think there's a need to push for reform, specifically by making legal channels easier, making it harder for companies to hire illegals. We should make work and seasonal visas easier to obtain and toughen these penalties for companies hiring illegal immigrants. Thank you.